Hello students, today we are going to be going over H1.3, scalar multiplication of vectors. This is page H11 in your pink packet. The objective is I can multiply vectors by scalars and calculate the magnitude of the resultant. As a reminder, magnitude is length, okay? So multiplying by a scalar quantity scales a vector. So if you multiply by something greater than 1, it lengthens it out. If it's multiplied by a number less than 1, it's going to be smaller in length, okay? Multiplying by a positive scalar quantity changes only the magnitude of a vector. The direction stays the same. Multiplying by a negative scalar quantity reverses the direction of the vector and the magnitude for all scalar quantities except -1. Multiplying by -1 results in the same magnitude in the reverse direction, okay? So if you want, you can look over examples 1, 2, and 3. I am going to go ahead and jump to number 5 on page H12. So go ahead and turn the page over to number 5 where it says 1/2 W. Graph the resultant vector and give its component form and magnitude. So it's 1/2 W, which means it's scaled to half of that. So I'm going to put 1/2 W here. We're going to put the component form. So half of -10 is -5, and half of 8 is 4. So there's the resultant vector, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right up here. So that's going to be -5, 4. That's kind of the way I'm going to do that. You can draw it a little bit better, even though it's going to be right on top of that. It does not go in the other direction because it's positive. If it was negative, it would be down here somewhere, okay, in the opposite direction. Now we're going to find out the magnitude of the resultant vector. Here's the resultant vector. So if I go over this way, my length is 5. If I could put negative if I want, and I go up 4. So this is a right triangle, so I use my Pythagorean theorem to find the length of this vector on this side since it's the hypotenuse. So I say -5 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. Remembering that the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared is c squared. Okay, so -5 squared is 25 plus 16 equals c squared. Add those together and I get 41. And then I take the square root of each side to solve for c. And it's going to be 6 point something. And I cannot simplify that because there's no perfect squares in 41. So I'm going to put it in my calculator, 41 square root. Round to the nearest tenth, it's 6.4. And that is the magnitude. So here is the component form of 1/2 W, and the magnitude is 6.4. Okay. All right, next we're going to go on to number 7, -3 W, and W is -2, 8. So I'm going to multiply each of these by this -3. So that's going to be 6, -24. So again, all I do is multiply -3 by each of these. Now, if we were to graph it, let's see, -2, 8 would be like that. So 6, -24 would be way down there like that, if this was your graph. So we didn't have to graph this one, but I just wanted you to see it would be down like that if you had to graph it. Okay, so there's the component form of -3 W right there. Next, we're going to find out what the magnitude is. So we would say, okay, that's going to go over 6, and it's going to be down 24. So we're going to have to find out what this length right here is, and I'm going to put C. Then I go a squared And A and B don't matter here as long as you put 6 on one and 24 on the other. Okay, 6 squared is 36. I don't know what 24 squared is. So we go here, 24, and square it. 576. And then I'm going to add 36 to that. 612. Then I take the square root. And I get C equals, let me try and do the factor tree here, 612. I'm going to do divide by 36, 36 and 17. Okay, 17 is prime, 36 is a perfect square, so I can just go 6 and 6. So I can take a 6 out, 1 goes away. So it equals 6 square roots of 17. Now, if I also want it in decimal form, so I can just put it in my calculator, 612 square root is 24.7. So you have 1, 2, 3 answers, okay? All right, students, you'll probably have to do some in your white packet. You can do it. You rock.